Okay, so normally I wouldn't get myself into this sort of thing, but after what I have been noticing as far as Marvel Rivals go, the whole community is in a complete uproar about this whole $40,000 tournament, okay? So let me just get this one thing out of the way before I even explain anything. I am by no means a news anchor, okay? I am not a news expert. I am not a drama content creator. I am none of that stuff, okay? I am just another content creator who plays video games and wants to make content out of what I love to do in my spare time, okay? That's just plain and simple. But anyways, let's not waste any more time and just get right into it, okay? So, for some background behind all of this, recently there was a tournament that went down for Marvel Rivals involving Deadpool, right? The new character that just came out along with the Season 6 update and stuff like that. So, in honor of that happening, they wanted to celebrate by hosting a creator-based tournament involving, I think, 48 players or something like that, around 40 plus players in one tournament, to where the prize for the first place winner is of course $40,000. And so this whole situation involves around these four individuals, okay? Now I cannot believe I'm going to name these people out loud. God, I feel so guilty for doing this. So this team involves these people as follows: CC, I believe, who is the team leader or one of the team leaders, Kingsman, who we'll get to in a moment, Lucy, and Zaza. If I butcher any of those names, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I would appreciate it. And so here's the deal with these people, okay? Zaza, from my understanding, is apparently a one-trick player, or OTP as some folks would call it, or one-trick pony, whatever the case may be. Zaza is pretty much one of the more notable players who uses Black Widow in Marvel Rivals. Okay, so hear me out. This person is supposedly a Black Widow main, on top of having a supposed 200 ping connection. Okay, I kid you not, 200 ping connection. Okay, and from what I understand, apparently this is pretty much a bad number for a tournament. Like, if you're going to go into a tournament with that kind of ping of a connection, guaranteed that would scream pure blasphemy, because that is apparently a terrible number from what I've heard. And so Zaza wants to use Black Widow. Kingsman's original plan was going for a triple support comp, which is a lineup as I would call it, to where they wanted to go ahead and see what type of comp would work for that tournament, right? And mind you, this was all happening during practice, okay? They were doing a scrimmage match with all of this going on, okay? Just keep that in mind, okay? Let that thought get to your thick skulls. And so Kingsman and company asked him to switch, even though he insisted on choosing Mantis as a support just in case, but instead they declined, okay? And on top of that, Kingsman went on to double down by saying this, and I quote, "You may not want the money, but I do, okay? I really want to win. I need money for college. I need money for everything. And I want to try my hardest to get the right composition." Okay? So to simply put, he is in college and he needs the money for his tuition, I'm assuming, which is probably why he wanted to enter in the tournament in the first place. And so the team started roasting Kingsman. Now, this is where things get completely petty. And I mean, really, okay? This is pretty much the pivotal point of this whole situation, because at that point, his teammates started arguing against Kingsman, which led to a back and forth between the four, to where they have literally been calling him out on the matter. And I swear to goodness, it has gotten so bad that Kingsman himself supposedly went to go ahead and do a solo queue for a ranked match by himself, okay? He went on his own, he left the tournament match, and then next thing you know, every single person on that team legitimately left the Discord, and CC went to the tournament organizers and complained to them about the situation. And after they took brief notice, they reported to Kingsman, telling him that he has officially gotten kicked out of the whole tournament. He got kicked out, and the next thing you know, the whole team stayed and played in the tournament and then lost in last place. I believe they were like 1-8 the entire time. And then the next thing you know, I believe Kingsman made a video on YouTube explaining the whole ordeal, and then CC made a YouTube video in response, and then apparently Widow's BF, I'm assuming best friend apparently, let me know if I'm wrong, they made a whole Google document out of nowhere explaining why Kingsman was even kicked out of both the team and the tournament altogether in the first place. And then of course CC made an apology soon after. There you go. There's the context. Now look here. I did not pay attention to this whole tournament. I was not there in person. I didn't watch the whole thing from start to finish. I just didn't really care about the tournament like that because I was busy doing other stuff in my personal life that I believed mattered. But the sole reason as to why I even caught up with this stuff to begin with up to this very point was because I kept on hearing about it on social media, mainly through Reddit and YouTube for the most part. But still, I kept on hearing about it for like the past day or two. And so I couldn't help but to figure out what exactly is going on in this so-called community of Marvel Rivals, okay? So once I found out in complete detail about all of this stuff, I was like, oh god, here we go again. What's going on now? I clearly wonder what these folks are up to at this point. But of course, I did some digging, I did some research, and now I am officially caught up with this whole situation, okay? But one part about all of this that did grind my gears just a tad bit. Now, correct me if I'm wrong about this, but for some reason, I have heard that supposedly the teammates that were in that Discord, that exact same Discord, I believe Cece, Zaza, and Lucy, they were all talking down on Kingsman to where he legit was catching heat from those three. I'm talking about they were just absolutely flaming Buddy, okay? They were literally on this dude's head top boss. Now, I have zero clue exactly what they said in that Discord, nor do I want to know myself because I was not involved in that mess. Thankfully, I wasn't, and that's a good move on my part. However, I do want to point this out, okay? During that Discord session, as I would call it, they were going as far as to say that Kingsman hasn't left his room in the past 20 years and he has no social skills whatsoever. Now, I found out about that from a certain Reddit post, okay? So don't quote me on that. But I will say this, okay? This right here is the pivotal part about this whole Marvel Rivals community, and here's why. Everyone that acts this way and behaves this way, I promise you, this is pretty much the reason as to why not that many people can really get along in a community like this. I swear to God, son, every time I look at stuff like this from a spectator's perspective or whatever, I just be thinking to myself, wow, thank goodness I am not one of these people. But it does hurt me in a way to see how far we have come as a complete player base just to enter this phase in our society of video games, to where I feel like stuff like this normally gives video games a bad image, okay? And let me tell you right now, this right here is no different than that. This right here is no different, especially for a game like Marvel Rivals, a game that was given so much popularity over the last year and a half almost. However, at the same time, at least a certain portion of folks within that so-called player base still have zero clue how to behave, as if they don't have a single brain cell in their system whatsoever, even if the devs themselves have clearly told you to keep the community safe and positive at all costs. Like, bro, what are we doing? Like, seriously, what are we doing? I feel like stuff like this would easily paint a whole narrative around the game to where it just gives the game a plain bad image. Even though I know this right here isn't anything new, we've seen this before with other games in the very past. But for a game like Marvel Rivals, bro, and mind you, we're still in January of 2026, so entering big 2026 with a controversy like this, that right there just goes to show exactly what direction this game is heading moving forward. As I said before in one of my previous videos, this stuff could either make or break the freaking game, bro. And I believe with this type of controversy, this could easily break the game. Matter of fact, scratch that. This could possibly split the entire community in half. And unless I'm tripping, if this situation was to be an indication of such, then by all means, congratulations, folks. You guys have done a fantastic job. Way to go. Flippin' fantastic. My goodness, man. Like, what is going on with video game communities? It don't even have to be about Marvel Rivals. It can be about any game for that matter. It can literally be any game. Period, bro. I could have sworn this game would start the year off on a decent note, but right now, with this in the way, I guarantee you this ship is going to sink slowly but surely, okay? Slowly but surely, and if stuff like this keeps on happening moving forward, I guarantee you that ship would literally sink 6 feet deep. Alright, but yeah, those are my 2 cents as always on this stupid $40,000 tournament nonsense, whatever you want to call it. Like I said before, you know, this whole community is no different than any other community when it comes to pure toxicity, controversy, and stuff that could easily make the devs and the players regret doing by throwing out apology letters and apology videos. Like, come on, guys, just do better, bro. I'm no people's person by any means, nor am I a peacekeeper, but all I can say is just do better and be better as players and the community as a whole, okay? Like, come on, bro, grow up.